Welcome back to our MineColonies Heaven and Hell playthrough, and since the last time that you've seen us, we've been pretty busy. This is Heaven's new graveyard. We finally got the cherry blossom trees under some control here, so this makes a nice entranceway to the graveyard, followed by the shrine building right at the end of it, and of course our actual graveyard build itself, right at the end, surrounded by some graves here. This is a tier 2 graveyard, I believe, and I think overall this area looks pretty zen and a pretty nice place to store the dead. We even have a worker inside it with John Harris there, who won't be too busy here in heaven, seeing as we don't have too many deaths. But just behind this great wall that we have here, this is where our new flower shop is. This is a tier 1 building, but we now finally have up our flower shop here in heaven. We also have a worker inside it as well at the moment with Mara, who I believe is actually planting some flowers for us. She will request a lot of fertilizer in order to make plants, but as this is only a tier 1 build at the moment, she can only make dandelions and poppies with them. But that's absolutely fine, because that's easy yellow and red dye for myself, and it's going to be some easy food for our apiary just to feed our bees. Our builders have been hard at work as well. We nearly have up a tier 3 restaurant. There was just a few more items that I couldn't be bothered getting for them, but I will need to do at some point just to finish the build. And Elia has now finished off our tier 3 hospital here as well, which really looks not too bad. Ava is upgrading her university to tier 3 at the moment. She is 90% supplied and is just about to get the last remaining items in. Ava, on the other hand, is just doing a decoration over in her graveyard, but she hasn't yet started that yet. Why not? She just had to be gently reminded to get back to work, but she is now doing this decoration for us, and everything here is pretty simple to get her, so that's fine. I'll let her get on with that. Well, apart from the doctor asking for 16 golden apples here, which will be made for her eventually once we get in a few more golden ingots, these idiots don't really require me for too much at the moment, which is good, because I have my own project that I want to look into today, which I think might help us out with our warehouse storage if I can get something set up. Our warehouse here is just full of a lot of garbage, which is really starting to become a bit of a nuisance, because it means that our delivery people are being held up because they don't have any storage to actually place items in, which means ultimately they aren't then delivering any items to any citizen that is asking for them. So we have been trying to free up the warehouse at the moment. I've been putting things into external storage. I think these are just full of bloody eggs, melon slices, carrots, potatoes, dirt, you name it. All of those chests are now full of that stuff, which is fine because it lets us free up the warehouse at the moment, but we can't keep going on with this. Buildings such as our crusher's hut and composter's hut are helping us trim down some of those items within the warehouse, and eventually we will get up a sifter build which can do the same thing, but just at the moment that isn't enough just to trim down the amount of items within the warehouse. We could also just upgrade the warehouse to tier 4 just for some more storage, but we're not ready yet for tier 4 builds within these colonies. So I do have one more idea to test out here today, which that little message up for a new citizen born there in hell. Thank you very much again there, Arian. My idea is to then start shipping off some items from the warehouse here in heaven to our warehouse in hell. And this idea will be determined if it's successful or not, just if we can experiment with this stash here. So if I use this chest and put some eggs inside of it, they will drop into the hopper, which will then drop into the stash, and one of our couriers will then come along to pick it up. So that is great news actually. This means that this potential idea could work. So for the next step of the plan, it's off to Hell just to get some obsidian, which thanks to Hell's agricultural district, we definitely have a few pieces spare. And I may as well grab some of these golden nuggets as well, just to take back to heaven. But before we rush back to heaven, I suppose this is a good opportunity to show off Hell's new graveyard district, which we finally have up 5 graveyards here in total, or 4 because I can count. So we have 4 tier 1 graveyards at the moment. Thank you very much, builder, for upgrading our farmer, which means that we do have a lot more space to put a lot more bodies down here. So we now just need to come around and upgrade these buildings to tier 2 and tier 3. Then we're going to have a lot more room for a lot more corpses down here in Hell. So that's going to be nice. Actually, whilst I'm here, I've always been curious as to where this obsidian gate will take us to. So I'm just going to make it up very quickly just to see. I mean, we're going to be playing around with a lot of portals here today, so why not just make a start with this one here. Let's light it, see where it goes. Just into a cave system. Okay. There is going to be a lot of jumping in and out of portals here today, just going from heaven to hell, so apologies in advance if my voice does break a little bit. Still no idea why the microphone does that. But unless you guys need anything from me here, which of course you will, I was just about to go back to heaven, but I now need to sort this out. Because one of our builders is upgrading our swineherder's hut to tier 3, and they will need some brown concrete powder just to continue. The rest of it will be delivered to them, and we don't have another builder, so that's fine. Right, concrete powder's pretty easy actually, let's sort them with that after we go back to heaven. Eventually, I do want to sort out this middle part here of our heaven colony and make it into some form of main plaza, and within it I think I want a giant portal that will lead us to hell, just for easier access. So again, my curiosity is getting the better of me, but I think that portal there is far enough away from the other one that they shouldn't then connect up. But let's light it and just see whereabouts in hell this takes us to. It has taken us out here, just in front of the map actually. That is interesting. That's probably not too bad a placement, just to start sending some things through. But I am going to check up at the warehouse just after we break that. I don't want any nasties coming through. That position could work for us, but I want to see if we could maybe get a better location closer to our warehouse here, just to take them out and ship them off from here. Alright, we have another one here, very close to our industry district, but again should be far enough away from the original portal. No, I don't think this placement will work. So sorry farmer, but you now have a nice obsidian decoration to live with, so, you know, enjoy that. You know what? I think we will just try and make this portal here work. It's not ideal because we do have these slabs here, but I might be able to tidy this area up a little bit, just to even see if this experiment will work. Oh yeah, I forgot I got rid of that original portal in the main plaza in heaven here, didn't I? Where the hell are we? We do have some cobblestone here. Oh, we're back in Heaven's agricultural district. Okay then. This is going to be a very messy one today. This is going to be a very, very messy one. Right, so to begin with, I'm going to thank Ava for finishing off her university at tier 3. And then I'm going to come and request some rails to be made for me. And very quickly, while our mechanic makes the rails for me, I'm just coming here to our tier 3 university, which is definitely looking a lot more impressive now. I think we've got 2 new builds at least in here, 2 new buildings at least. But most importantly, we can now have up to 3 researches at a time, and we now have access to tier 3 researches within here as well, which we will look into those at another point. I really just want to get on with our little experiment here today, and I'm probably going to require some powered rails for this, but let's send a minecart through and just chase it to make sure it has gone to the right place, which it does seem to have done. Don't you push that back through there. Okay, so if I then set up this area here... Oh, well, that's answered another question for me then. Thank you very much, Mr. Delivery Man. So our citizens cannot go through these nether portals. But if I set up this area here, just to then collect those items, something like this, with rails leading up to the hopper that will then feed down into the stash. Okay, let's see if a minecart is able to then deliver some stuff here. So we've loaded the minecart with some eggs here, so let's send them through the portal and we will see on the other side if that has gone into the stash, which it is sitting over the hopper and the stash at the moment. The eggs are within the stash, but will our delivery system over here actually take that up? Because it's absolutely fine that we can take stuff down here into hell just to store it, but the whole point is actually having it almost automated with the delivery system here picking it up immediately from our stash. Which I hope our couriers can still do even with me not being here. Which unfortunately I'm not convinced that they can do that or not, because I have stood around here for a while and we do have 2 delivery people running about, but neither of them have collected the eggs from the stash yet. So either they're too busy or they just don't know that there are items within that stash at the moment. Maybe they just really are quite busy down here. I don't know how many delivery people we have in total. At least 3 by the looks of it, of which they are just running to different builds around here and not actually going to my stash. Okay, well, maybe they are just too busy just to go collect it. That would be ideal if that is the case. Well, for argument's sake, and just to ensure that I can continue on here, I'm going to assume that our delivery people in hell are too busy at the moment to deal with the stash that I've placed down. So what I'm going to do next is just see if we can have some form of return system where I can have a minecart come from heaven to hell and be returned back to heaven, and vice versa from here from hell to heaven back to hell. Which honestly, I think that's a lot easier said than done here. I'm going to assume that a setup like this, where it's basically just a big loop from one colony to another, will not work. Nope, I'm assuming the cart is stuck on the other side. Yes, it is, but again, I probably should have some powered rails down here, so that's my bad. I'll get our mechanic to make a few powered rails here for me. I think in the meantime though that yes, they have delivered me some items just to help out with the builds that they're requesting. And actually, I can make up the brown concrete powder that they are requesting for hell as well, and we can send that through. Alrighty then, that's now set up, so on you go little cart, and please come back. No. It managed to come out and get stuck here. Okay. I've not done anything stupid here, have I? No, it can still move, just not come back through. Although that's a bit more progressive. It came out from this side and travelled round to that side and just got stuck. So it might not be able to enter the portal once it leaves it. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing here really. So some clever people online may have given me the answer here. A minecart should be able to travel along, be broken by a cactus and be fed into a dispenser, which can shoot it back out onto another rail track, and that apparently can then go through the nether portal again. I don't know if this system will work at all that I have. Kind of did, just now the minecart is in 2 different parts inside it. And after augmenting this setup a little bit, I think we now have this working. So minecart up and in to be broken and then spat out by the dispenser. Let's see how this fares with the nether portal then. Just before we do, let me put in some concrete powder into a minecart with chest. And... okay, that didn't really work. Watching me play around with redstone must be the equivalent of watching a monkey trying to type something with a typewriter. Fascinating, but ultimately just a complete waste of time. And that is a redstone set up on both sides of the nether portal, so let's give this a little shot. You go up, be broken, be spat out into the nether, and it comes back and is going away again. Okay, excellent. I've actually managed to do something here. Now if I could just get items actually staying in one place rather than being spat out everywhere, then I think we're on to a winner. I'm actually very pleased with this. I definitely think this whole setup is going to need to be refined a bit more, but if I could now just have it going over a stash and delivering items into the stash, then I think we're getting closer to having this little experiment be successful. We will see. There is nothing in the stash here in hell at the moment. This might not be a long enough track to have things drop down into the hopper, then into it. But back to heaven and we will see what happens. Right, our minecart with chest is there again. Let's put in some items and send you through. Fully expecting just the minecart to come back. Nope. Instead, we have the dispenser just firing out all of the items that we sent away there. I'm definitely going to assume that that did not work. Anything in the stash? No, nothing. Okay. I mean, we're getting a bit closer to this. Oh, rip, little chicken. But it's really your own fault here, isn't it? Getting killed with cobblestone. We are getting closer with it. Robin just picked something up. Wait, did Robin finally take stuff from the stash down here? She did. They took up the eggs. Okay, so they have just been busy down here as well. This idea is going to work if I could just set it up a bit better than I have here. I think the cause earlier was because they were just way too busy with all of the different things that they have to do around here at the moment. So it's been quite some time later and quite a lot of experimenting later, but this is the final design that I've come up with here. Thank you very much, Elia. It's not the most attractive system that I've made, but it's the system that has worked. As much as I would have liked a minecart continuously moving through the overworld to the nether and back here, I just wasn't able to do it. I have tried several different methods: loaders, unloaders, single tracks, multiple tracks. Just nothing that I came up with would allow a minecart with a chest to go through the nether and then come back in one piece. And as much fun as it was watching an empty cart return from hell to heaven and back again, it was just overly a pointless venture. But we do have something set up here, and I'm pretty happy with how it actually operates. So first things first, we turn on the system. That's just to stop the annoying tick of the dropper continuously going. And we know that we have a lot of cobblestone here within Heaven's warehouse, so let's just request a few of them to come to this post box here, which will go into the chest and will eventually then go down into the dropper system, which basically will then just fire it straight into the nether to go towards hell. So on the opposite side in hell, we've just got the same setup, but the items will eventually come through there and be put into some hoppers and then into the stash here. It's a fairly simple system that we've got, fairly messy system that we have, but it works, and that's all that I really care about at the moment. If anyone out there watching knows how it's possible to send a minecart with a chest through continuously to the overworld, into the nether and back again, I'm definitely all up for hearing how you could possibly do it, because my stupid mind just could not wrap its way around it. But here comes the cobblestone right now, so you can just see that come through the nether. It has been scooped up by the hoppers, and it is now coming into our stash. So it's a pretty messy way to do this, but it is possible to trade items through the colonies now. And there is a delivery man now picking those items up from the stash and taking them away to Hell's warehouse. The system works, and honestly, I couldn't be happier. And of course, the system works the other way as well, so we can send, say, some netherrack from hell back to heaven as well. We'll get a few deliveries of those to the postbox, and just the same principle, they'll go through the nether and will eventually spit out here in heaven. And here it all comes right now actually, so the system works. We get items from both ways. Well, all of our builders here in hell are unfortunately dead, so we're not really going to make much progress here today. And by the looks of it, their blacksmith is dead as well, so they will just need to wait on someone growing up to become their new blacksmith to get those items. But let's go back to heaven for the final time, see what they're getting up to. And I think that we've done not too bad at all here today. Elia is completing another one of these Kongming decorations for us, which is fine because they are pretty nice to look at, and there's only a couple more here, and I think that's our graveyard in heaven then officially complete. Ava has picked up the restaurant at tier 3 again, and we'll just be waiting these items here in, which unfortunately I will need to get her because, yes, they're on our open requests alongside some orange stained glass. Well, it looks as if for the rest of today, I've got a bit of work ahead of me, just getting some fish by the looks of it, as well as sending some items over to hell, just to free up Heaven's Warehouse a bit more here. So thank you very much for watching today's episode of MineColonies Heaven and Hell, and until next time, bye for now everyone. Bye bye.